Good morning, sports fans. Welcome to the first round recap for NCAA men's tournament. So we're gonna go down the line with the order of games today. We had Virginia Tech lose to Florida, 75-70, and that was a good game. I watched the tail end of that one. Colgate versus Arkansas. Now that one was 85-68. However, Colgate led the first half and were doing pretty good, but ultimately met their demise to Arkansas, moving them on to the second round. Drexel lost to Illinois, 49-78. Now, were we surprised? I wasn't. Utah State lost to Texas Tech, 65-53. Now, the next game. Oh my lord, this almost busted my bracket. I had Ohio State going to the Elite Eight, but Ohio State was defeated in overtime by Oral Roberts, a 15 seed, and Ohio was a 2 seed. The final score was 75-72. This is the 9th 15 seed beating a 2 seed upset in NCAA tournament history. So this game made history, and it was something that I feared that was going to happen, because it happens every year. It really does. There's that one team that always gets beat in an upset and goes and messes my bracket up. So that team this year was Ohio State. But moving on to a more positive note on something that didn't break my bracket, Hartford lost to Baylor 79-55, although again, I wasn't surprised by that. I was not surprised at all by Baylor beating Hartford. Moving on to Georgia Tech Loyola. Loyola took the win in that one, 71-60. So that didn't ruin my bracket. The next game was Tennessee-Oregon State. This one, I picked Tennessee. Tennessee lost 70-56. So, I mean, again, that was an upset because it was a 12 seed beating a 5 seed. So that kind of sucked. Liberty versus Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State took that win with 69-60 against Liberty. Wisconsin played North Carolina and upset North Carolina, kind of. It was a 9 beating an 8, but it was not. I did not expect Wisconsin to pull off a win there. I was rooting for North Carolina. I chose North Carolina, so hopefully going into the next round, I'll have, like I said, so for that game, I just have Baylor. I picked Baylor to go in the second round. North Carolina lost, so that matchup's going to be Baylor versus Wisconsin. Next up, we had Cleveland versus Houston. That game was a Houston win with, I think that says 87-56. I can't read my own handwriting. But Houston beat Cleveland State. Moving on to the next game, we have North Texas versus Purdue. Now this game was one of those games that I really didn't care per se about. I picked North Texas, and they actually ended up winning. So good for me. 78-69 in an overtime. That was North Texas versus Purdue. And now next up for all my New Jersey sports fans, Rutgers, folks, have made it to the second round with an upset against Clemson, 60-56. Now that is huge for Rutgers. Last time they were in the tournament was 30 years ago, so congratulations to Rutgers for moving on. They have my pick, although I have them losing to Houston, so maybe they'll go farther. Who knows? Maybe they'll surprise me. Next up, we have Syracuse. Syracuse upset San Diego State with a final score of 78-62. Buddy Boeheim, Coach Jim Boeheim's son, made it. He has the most points scored in Syracuse history in a tournament game. I believe it said in 10 years I saw on CBS. Or a tweet or something. But congratulations to Syracuse for beating a 6 seed. They were an 11. Now, we're going to go in order that they finished, because I'm going to talk about the one that I have the most to say about last. Winthrop lost to Villanova 73-63. And again, I want to say, were we surprised in any way? Not really. I mean, yeah, it was only a 10-point difference, but I still think that it was no doubt that Villanova was winning. And Nova won, so I can circle Nova. I forgot to do that. So Villanova won 73-63. Now, West by God, Virginia. And by God indeed. With this win, Bob Huggins has officially reached 900 wins. I know I said in a previous video that he can't, but I forgot how things work. So, my bad on my part, but Bob Huggins officially has 900 wins, and from the moment that he knew that they were winning that game, he had the biggest smile on his face. You could see it under his mask, you could see it when they won, and it was one of the greatest things to watch as a West Virginia fan. Seeing Huggins get 900 wins is amazing. He, I believe, is the 6th coach in NCAA history to get 900 wins, so that's awesome. But West Virginia today beat Morehead State 84-67, moving them on into the second round, and that is huge for them. Because actually on ESPN or on the March Madness app right now, I have 2 brackets. I have a carbon copy of this one that I'm currently writing through, and then I have just another one for West Virginia going to the Final Four. Because I 100% think that they can make it. It's very, very, very slim, but they have a chance to make the Final Four. So, the matchups for the second round, we have Baylor versus Wisconsin. I think Baylor's going to take that one. We have Villanova versus North Texas, Texas Tech versus Arkansas, Florida versus Oral Roberts, Illinois versus Loyola, Tennessee Oregon State versus Oklahoma State, Syracuse versus West Virginia, and Rutgers versus Houston. I'm very ready for this because this was not what I was expecting to see. Again, I was not expecting Ohio State to be gone so soon. I had them going to the Elite Eight, but, things happen, and they got beat by a 15 seed. So, we'll be back tomorrow with more action on the other side of the bracket here. With every game that's in the West and the East is tomorrow. So, we'll be covering those tomorrow night. And until then, have a good morning, sports fans. I'm Jason Muller. I'm your host for JMJE Sports TV. And we hope to see you again here tomorrow for our second day of first round action. Have a good evening.